probably about
not on a
1,000.
scale of time.
Oh, I keep taking them to someone.
That's where she said.
Really?
Yeah.
We are going to call to order this meeting of the Special Utility Authority for Tuesday, March 4th at 5:30 p.m. And item number 2 is invocation by the pastor of Bethany Christian Church, Mr. Ron Eden. Ron, thank you for being here. Everyone please stand.
Heavenly Father, what a blessing it is to be a member of this community. Thank you for that. Thank you for our leaders who are gathered here tonight. Pray that you would bless them and their families. Pray that you would give them the wisdom to do and say the right things tonight, the things that would bring you glory and honor. All these things we pray in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4 is public input and unscheduled personal appearances. Is there anyone in the audience tonight that wishes to address us on any of the agenda items? There being none, item 5 is a consent agenda. Staff is recommending that items 6 and 7 be on the consent agenda. If you'll please review those items, and if there are no objections, I will entertain a motion to approve, to add them to the consent agenda and approve.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve items 6 and 7 in the consent agenda.
Okay, and a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Sharbit,
Aye.
McLean, Schultz.
Aye. Item number 8, update on contract with Peoria Tribe to purchase sanitary sewer system. We've got David and Chuck listed there.
Mr. Chairman, I, as Chuck approaches, I think what you're going to find is that the discussions were constructively engaged in a context that I've referred to colloquially or in shorthand as Exhibit A and Exhibit B, and that would be a complete description of the project parameters actually built into the contract before it's signed, just for clarity and to fully develop the concept before signing a document. And then what I've referred to as Exhibit B to the document would simply be a collection that identifies all of the relevant right-of-way acquisition that has to occur, or easements or fee acquisitions. Again, so that when the document is presented for signature, it is truly and really a complete document that addresses expectations. Chuck's been working on this with the tribe.
And David, you're not suggesting it's item A or B, it's A and B?
Absolutely.
Okay,
So that
all right.
so that when I call it a contract, really, since it's a government agency that you're dealing with, the Peoria Tribe of Oklahoma, it's almost more accurately characterized as a memorandum of understanding, but it's certainly nothing you can't review in the context of a contract. And part of that is knowing what you're signing, and that's what we're trying to wrap up.
Okay. Chuck?
Yes, as David indicated, the exhibits that will be part of this agreement, the Peoria Tribe is preparing, their consultant is preparing. So, for example, Exhibit A is what facilities are we putting in there. That's reflected in the final version that will be approved by DEQ. That permit they've submitted plans to DEQ that's under review. The location of this line, which is outside of the city, will be in ODOT's right away, so they need a permit from them. They're working on securing that permit. Ottawa County right away, they're securing that. There's some private easements. Those documents, again, once they're approved, will be attached to this agreement. So we just wanted to come before you today and let you know where those things are at. And again, those things are being worked on. Their consultant has developed those items. They've been submitted to those particular agencies for review and approval, and we're waiting on those approvals to come back. So those can be attached to the agreement and part of the attachment.
So this is a collaborative effort, and the tribe is fully aware of
Yes.
this document and the various items on it, and they're working on those. Okay. I know recently Chief Froman expressed some frustration about a delay in the project. I say recently, it may have been a month or so ago, and we were waiting, I think, as we researched a little bit, on one of their engineers to provide some additional information. Have we gotten over that little hurdle yet, or where are we?
Again, with the DEQ permit and the ODOT permit, there's been some iterations. They've wanted additional information.
Okay.
And that back and forth. Again, we have not received the final approved permit from either one of those agencies.
Mr. Chairman, this may be helpful. Chuck, are you actively engaging the tribal representatives on any sort of regular basis so that we don't end up in a situation where one side or the other, thinks it's waiting on something from the other side?
Yes, we do converse with their representatives, their consultant, and other representatives from the tribe.
And we means you and people that you assign, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, there's no action required on this agenda item. Did anyone else have any questions for Chuck or for David? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We will move on to item number 9, update on Red Robertson Field Event Center project. Mr. Hale, and it says Satterwhite, but I don't think you look quite as big as...
He says he spends enough time up here without this
That's
meeting,
fine.
but actually he had to travel. So I have Dr. Folks with me, Mayor, and
Welcome, both
good
of
evening
you.
to the special utility folks. Just want to, first of all, thank this board and the council for the continued support with the project. And, it's kind of hard to believe that the 1-year anniversary of the referendum came on February the 12th. So we're about 1 year and 2 weeks into this project. But Dr. Folks and I have on our MCFA hat tonight. He left his robe at the office, and I left the college president's job on campus. So we appreciate your time. We'll kind of get through the agenda item here quickly, and thought it would be appropriate to provide an update. As you well know, Phase 1 of the project was completed last summer, both on time and under budget, which were 2 good conditions from the Trust Authority's perspective. Phase 2 bids were let out in October of last fall and accepted a month or so later. Work began on Phase 2 in late October, and really things have progressed nicely. Most of you already know what those improvements are, but the stadium seating on the west side, the high school locker room on the west side, the press box and sky boxes, the entry gates, all of that in Phase 2. The only thing that's been kind of cranky has been the weather on the project, as you all might imagine. We'll get a full briefing on that in a couple weeks, but the project team thinks we're going to be probably a couple weeks behind because of the December and January weather, but we're going to be in the same shape as most of the projects in North Oklahoma, because of the winter weather. But great confidence in our project team. Most of you know that Crosslands is the CM on that project. We have Oklahoma State as our client representative. They bring a great deal of expertise to the project as well. And then AIP is the architectural firm out of Norman, Oklahoma. So despite the fact that we've had some challenging weather conditions, we feel like the project team is on point, and they have committed to trying to make up as much time as they possibly can over the next 6 months to deliver the project both on time and under budget. We have a very healthy reserve at this point in time, about $250,000 in our contingency account. Both Neil and Rudy are able to follow those, activities on a regular basis because of their seat on the Trust Authority. So we feel like the project is in good shape if we can just get Mother Nature to cooperate really with us over the next several months. The purpose of tonight is really to brief the authority on Phase 3 of the project. Each of you, I think, received a couple of documents with your packet. I'm going to spend just a little bit of time, and then I think Dr. Folks wants to make a few comments as well, and this won't take long. It'll be a very brief briefing. But as you all recall, these Phase 3 improvements were never within the context of what we had talked about during the campaign. They include both the parking improvements that you see on the screen, and then also the score and video board improvement inside the stadium as well. And so what we ask, if you go back to that original, that right there, what we asked the project team to do a couple of months ago, knowing that parking is really a key to the long-term success of that improvement project. If you've been to a junior high or high school football game in the last few years at Red Robertson Field, you know how hectic and sort of random parking is over there. And personally, in my view, you know, as I watch it on weekends, I'm a little concerned about just the public safety because you have a lot of kids darting in and out in that area. So we asked our project team to design what would be the absolute maximum parking improvement plan for the east side of the stadium, and that's what you see in the document. And each of those have a number of stalls, including some bus stalls as well. Lot A is just on the north side of Rockdale Avenue. Lot B is that centerpiece there that butts right up to the longtime practice facility at NEO A&M there for the football team. And then Lot C at the very bottom of that slide is in between the baseball and the softball fields. So the engineers and the architects said if you wanted to maximize every bit of parking space available, that's what that would look like. The budget for that was also an attached document, and it's really, to be honest with you, been a moving target because we're getting new information on a real regular basis, including cost of materials, soil conditions, et cetera, et cetera. And so the initial budget for all of that was about $1.8 million. That was about 4 weeks ago. The latest budget we saw was about $1.3 million, I believe. And we really, 1.4 million, we really think when we get a final estimate on the parking for 500 spaces and some bus stalls will be about 1.1 when all the information comes in. That's more than we're going to be able to do. As you all recall, the commitment that was made months ago during the campaign and then ever since we've been meeting as a trust authority is that any additional improvement outside of Phase 1 and Phase 2 would have to be generated from revenue from things like ad sales, from lease agreements that we've engaged in. We've had multiple meetings about naming rights opportunity. And so this trust authority has accepted the responsibility to raise as much revenue as we can to do two things. One would be to continue these improvements in parking and scoreboard. The second thing would be any additional revenue to retire the debt as soon as possible. And so that's something that we own and take very seriously as a trust authority, and I think have spent a lot of time trying to make that happen, Mayor. So that's a little bit with regard to the parking improvements there. The scoreboard bid, I think, goes out now, and in late March we'll be opening the bid packets there. We've worked closely with our project team to kind of get an idea of what that might look like. We're expecting the scoreboards to come in somewhere in that $400,000 range. Would be pleasantly surprised if it was under that. We think there's a chance that may happen. And so tonight really was a chance to make sure that this trust authority as well as the city council has a good feel on where we are with Phase 3 and the fact that anything that we do from this point forward, as you already know, requires council review and SUA review and approval as well. So I know Dr. Folks has a couple of comments he'd like to make, and then maybe we'll stand for questions if the authority has any.
Good evening. I just want to kind of follow up with what Dr. Hale said. There's been a lot of time spent just trying to look at different ways we can increase some revenue for Phase 3 of this project, and the trust is very determined to try to find a way to make that happen. But speaking on behalf of the trust, I want to point out just how impressed I am with the factors and the entities that are involved in this project, be it the city, be it NEO, the public schools, and the community. Just seeing everybody work together, and I have to commend from the trust the work that the city's done in conjunction with our project team and NEO. They've just been invaluable in keeping the project on task and on schedule. And like Dr. Hale said, we're a little bit behind because of the weather, but I think when you talk to Crossland and talk to OSU, they're pretty optimistic. So I'm not totally out of the out of the game as far as for being ready for football season, but pretty positive. So I think the team as a whole is doing a great job. I think you guys as a council and SUA should be very proud of the work that the trust and the city departments and everybody involved is putting into it. So any questions for Dr. Hale and I?
I would just like for the public, could you speak to when the west stands would be done and the suites and all that?
Sure.
Well, the anticipated date, I should say.
Yeah, I think the last date that we heard as far as the west stands being completed is around the 1st of October, but there's some wiggle room in there, and I know that Crossland and OSU are talking about some different things they can do in scheduling some of the subs and workers to try to speed that up. And I know if it's dry and it's warm enough, they're working, whether it's a Saturday, a Sunday. So I think they'll be able to make up a lot of ground once the weather starts to cooperate.
So the goal is to have, we've got the field and the lights usable. The goal is to have the stands usable this season, and then potentially the parking and the scoreboard, probably maybe not by October, but somewhere following that if we can. It just depends on how things progress. Okay. And I know the county is agreed to partner on the parking lot to try to help keep the costs down, which
That's a good
we
point,
very much
yeah.
appreciate.
Entered into an interlocal agreement, as you well know, Mayor, that would allow the county to be able to provide both labor and equipment services. You know, the Trust Authority would still be responsible for purchasing materials for the project, but the county, as long as it's scheduled kind of in the sweet spot for them, which is really kind of April to mid-June, would be able to provide some in-kind costs that would be very helpful.
And when Dr. Hale was talking about the oversight for the SUA and the council, if the trust authority is able to raise all the money in cash, then the authority has the authority, no pun intended, to do whatever they want with those funds, to use them to build parking lots or whatever. If at some point they need to incur any debt to finish the project, which is possible, when they get the streams of income from the suites, et cetera, they may then be able to go to a local lending institution and borrow some funds to finish up the project. That's when they would come back to the council, because the council has to approve any debt that authority might go into. Not just that authority, any authority that the city is a beneficiary of, the council has to approve the debt. So.
Yeah, Mayor, that's an important point, you know, and because a lot of these leases will be long-term, some of them in the length of 10 years, some of them maybe even as long as 30 years, which is kind of the expiration date on some of the agreements, that we may look to secure some financing based on these long-term lease agreements. But again, all of that would require authority and council review.
We've had real good response with some of the lease agreements and some of the conversations that we've had as far as naming rights and things like that. So we're pretty optimistic about that.
We do feel good about it. We've got 6 suites to lease. 3 of them are under contract, which we feel really good about being halfway there at this point. Still a lot of work to be done. The scoreboard, video board will provide a couple of revenue options for the Trust Authority. One will be the traditional kind of signage that you see on video boards. The second will be a little unique and kind of exciting in that we'll be able to run 30-second commercial spots or 60-second commercial spots. All of those give us an option for some long-term revenue to help support either the improvements or the debt service on the project.
Dr. Hale, how many times has the trust met since the inception of the project?
And then this is the 3rd community I've been involved in these kind of projects, and I would agree with Mark. And I've been so impressed with the individual commitment of these trustees, and even though the other 5 aren't here tonight, Superintendent of Public Schools Loretta Robinson, Athletic Director for the college Dale Patterson, Stacy Satterwhite represents the community at large through his work with the citizens group that led the campaign, and then the 4 of us here that are here tonight. You know, we formed before the vote ever took place. That was kind of an optimistic view of good things to happen. It turned out that the vote went our way in February, but starting on December 5th of 2012 up through March of 2014, you know, there's about 65, 66 Wednesdays that fall in between that range, and we've met on 54 of those 65 Wednesdays. So that's a lot of personal time for community volunteers to be here, and And as these two gentlemen know, most of those meetings, I would say on average, are a minimum 2 hours, right at.
And I wanted Dr. Hill to go over that just because I want the public to understand not just the time commitment that those of us on the trust have made, but the work that has gone into this project. I mean, it's really been very deliberate and very thorough, and we have some outstanding partners helping guide us. The guys from OSU that are what they call the owner's reps, just outstanding and a tremendous amount of knowledge. So, city manager was one that early on said, we really need to get these guys on board, even though it might cost a little, and I'm thankful that he did. So.
And I'd just like to echo the point that Mark made, is I really believe the trustees feel a great sense of responsibility to make sure this project is done the absolute right way. And that's why I think, our participation rate in our meetings, while not probably 100%, I bet virtually the majority of the meetings, we've had all 7 of our trustees at, and so it's just a good sign that people have bought in, they want to be committed to the project, and so I feel really good about the effort. Still a lot of work to be done, as the 4 of us in this room know, but at least the commitment to do that is there, I believe.
Any other questions?
Sorry, Rudy. I was just gonna say, one of the things that I get pretty excited about, and I think you guys would like to hear this too, is, we're still right in the middle of a construction project out there at Red Robinson Field. But we're getting calls, the college is getting calls, I know Amanda's getting calls, of people wanting to use that facility. And it's not even close to being complete. We had some local football teams that are wanting to use the field this fall and play some of their home games there and things like that. And that's people outside of Miami coming into Miami. And I get pretty excited about that. So, any other questions?
I'm just looking forward to that scoreboard being up. That's a great picture. When you look at it, it's a great picture.
It'll be exciting.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
New coach sure had a lot of positive things to say about that and the recruitment and everything else.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the college coach?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no doubt.
He is a
realized
Rotary. He
had
visited
stepped into a
Rotary.
good situation, and very thankful of that kind of commitment by the community. Yeah.
What about that wrestling team?
How about
Yeah.
those national champions in the Golden Norsemen, huh?
Yeah.
That, very exciting. I got to spend the weekend in snowy Spokane, Washington. But to watch those gentlemen do what they did, and the mayor and I talked this morning about having them at a council meeting maybe later this month. But it'll be very interesting when you hear the national records that this team set, and we'll do that in the resolution when it's proclaimed. But about 4 or 5 70-year-old records were broken this weekend by the Golden Norsemen. So special weekend for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, anything else?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10, other new business, any which has arisen since the posting of the agenda. Any new business?
No new business, Mr. Chairman.
Item 11, staff reports. Your written reports are in the packet. If available, staff is present for questions. Any questions?
Have none, Mayor.
Okay, item 12, trustee and community announcements. Neil, do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to wait?
I'll wait till the
Okay.
council.
Item 13, future agenda planning. Any items that we want to discuss with respect to future agenda? There being none, item number 14, motion to adjourn, please.
Oh, I have a question. I didn't realize, we were number 9 on the agenda. Did we miss it?
This
You're
is
probably on the
yesterday.
council meeting.
Probably. Yeah. Who are you here for?
I'm sorry.
What agenda item was you on? I mean, you with an organization?
The junior,
Okay.
okay, yeah, that's the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
That's okay, sorry.
I'm sure that.
You're early.
You're actually early.
Okay.
So we were looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Charbit?
Aye.
McLean? Aye. Johnson?
Aye.
Weston?
Aye.
Schultz?
Aye. Okay, that meeting is adjourned. Now we will move on to the council meeting, the regular meeting for Tuesday, March 4th. Item number 2 is public input, unscheduled personal appearances. Anyone in the audience want to speak on any of the agenda items? Now, that would be different from the specific agenda item 9. There being none, item number 3 is consent agenda. Staff is recommending items 4 through 10 be on the consent agenda. Are there any objections to any of those items being on the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to pull out item 8, 9, and 10. And I would make a motion to approve the rest of the items in the consent agenda.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve items 4 through 7. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Johnson,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Sharbit,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. Okay, the first item then, or the next item is item number 8, which is to approve a resolution for a $970 fee waiver for the Quapaw Tribe's Week of the Young Child event. And I have Phyllis down actually on this item. I don't know if you knew, Phyllis, you were going to be put on the spot here. Come on up. I will see what Neil's question is that he has. I know this is an event that's been held for several years, and it's a week-long event, and you're specifically looking for a fee waiver for the use of the Civic Center. Is that correct? I know you and I talked about this a week or two ago. Okay. Neil?
Actually, Mayor, I'd kind of like to group these together, but if we do them one at a time, that's fine also. After talking with staff and some department managers, I have no problem with waiving the fees, but the cleaning deposits, I think we should require them on all activities.
Okay.
And I'm not saying they're a problem, I'm not saying that, or anybody on this agenda, but as a practice, I think we should require the cleaning deposits.
Okay. Do you know, is there anyone here that can tell me how much the deposit is for this particular item?
It's $200.
$200? Okay. Phyllis?
Which is refundable.
Yeah. Is that a problem, Phyllis? Okay. So then, do you want to make a motion, or does anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that? So you want to make a motion to approve the waiving of the fees, but not the deposit?
Right. I
Okay.
would make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Johnson,
Aye.
Sharbit,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, approve Oklahoma Junior, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but Goat Association contract and resolution waiving $2,000 in fees for the 2014 Platinum Series show at the Miami Fairgrounds, April 11 through the 14th.
I had emailed this information, and I'm not sure if the ladies were able to print it, so, and I apologize.
Sorry, be careful,
I don't
please.
have everything.
That's all right.
But it just kind of gives you a little bit of what it is, potentially, if you all approve this.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Evie Gates. I'm from Veneta, Oklahoma. I actually attend NEO. This is for the Platinum Series show, which is held by the Oklahoma Junior Borgo Association. We are planning on having this April 12th and 13th, and we are hoping that we could have it at the Ottawa County Fairgrounds. Sorry.
That's all right.
Trying to
Take
look
your
over my
time.
notes right now. I don't have my glasses, so. We're expecting that for using this area, the economical and geographical area that it is, with being cornered by 4 major states, having Kansas, well, more than 4 actually, having Kansas, Texas, Missouri, Arkansas. We have people that are interested in Illinois and Indiana coming down to this show. It will bring a lot of people for the hotel area, the food, shopping, going to Atwoods and Walmart to buy any necessities that they need, and also, putting Miami, Oklahoma out on the map a little more. With the facility, also, I've been there before. It's a really clean facility. It's really beautiful. It's well kept. It has enough pins for the amount of entries. We are hoping that there are about 100 to 125 entries that are going to be coming. So it will hold the amount of people that are planning on attending this show. And of course, with, one person coming with their livestock, with their goats, their family members, the mother, father, brothers and sisters will be coming, so that will also, put a lot more money into that picture for the town of Miami. The target of this whole deal is for youth members, also promoting the boar goat. I've met a lot of people that wish there were more shows in this area that they could attend and learn more about the boar goat, and using Miami with the people in this area wanting to learn more, it would be really great. It also helps with 4-H and FFA members that would also like to learn more with showing, because there are the major shows like Tulsa State Fair and the Oklahoma Youth Expo, which many of them don't usually go out further than their county. So this will also give them an opportunity to see what showing the boar goat for the American Boar Goat Association and Junior Boar Goat Association will be about. With the cleanup and services and everything else, we have for the concession stand that the Ottawa County 4-H will be going over that for Saturday and Sunday. For the cleanup, the Fairland FFA has agreed to help with the grounds and hauling away the shavings. They're going to help us set up and take down. And we are planning on paying them to help out with their expenses. There will be security on Friday and Saturday nights. The cost with the 4 judges is at approximately $500 per judge, plus some travel expenses. We're expecting to pay about $2,500 for these 4 judges. Like I said, for the estimated entries of the 3 shows that we're having, there is about 100 and 125 entries. And along with this, if we promote it more, there probably will be a lot more people coming with word of mouth. We have people that are with social media and everything promoting the show. We have monthly
So does NEO have any of the goat judging? I mean, I know
Yes.
they have a lot of different types of,
We had discussed that, and she does know Tyler Dew. She was actually supposed to be on the judging team, and Chelsea recruited her to be on the equestrian team. And we were going to ask Tyler if he would like to come over and use this opportunity to teach his students how to judge the boar meat goat, because there are not a lot of opportunities for them to judge the boar meat show goats as they are where we're bringing them into this area. These are going to be national quality type animals. They're not just run of the mill, your backyard kind of deal. What we offer is a lot of opportunities for these kids to show. We have a junior show in the morning, then we have an open sanction show, then we have another open sanction ABGA show, and then we have a weather jackpot, which is where your county kids can come in, the goats that they have left over from like OIE, they can hold on to them and bring them in where they'll get a payback if they win, plus we have belt buckles for them. The next day on Sunday we have 2 commercial doe shows, which are for non-registered stock, because not everybody has registered boar goats. And when we talk about registered boar goats, you can
let me interrupt you because you're losing me.
well, I'm just saying.
And I understand, but
it's the quality and the opportunity.
I get that.
We
I get
asked
that.
Tyler, we're going to, she's going to.
If you get 125 entries, approximately what do you think that you'll generate in income?
It is $15 per entry, and we're just talking about the open show.
Okay.
And there are 3 open shows, and they'll be in all 3 open shows. And then the junior show, it's a $10 entry, which we try to pay back the kids. The jackpots are a totally different group of youth that come in, and this is all youth oriented. So they come in, and when they show, they also get a payback. The amount, there's not a lot of profit. There's really no profit from the show because we pay back the FFA for doing the work, or we have like 4-H come in and they do the concession stand where they make the money. So basically, it's just it's a learning opportunity is what it's based upon. And then the money is just dispersed back.
So the local 4-H, or maybe I should say the county 4-H,
The Ottawa County agreed
will
to
be
do,
involved,
they agreed to do the concession stand. They'll make all the money from the
and
concession.
the FFA has agreed to do the cleanup.
I talked with Jeff from the president of the Fair Board, and he agreed, and he worked that out for me, where Fairland FFA will come and we will pay them to help set up, take everything down, and then they will haul off all the shavings and take the shavings back to their facility and use them, and then we'll pay them for their time. So that helps their FFA group. And I did ask Miami, and they, he didn't get back with me. So, it's just a matter of that this is not a for-profit type deal. It is about giving the youth the opportunity, anybody that wants to utilize it, and then paying, giving it back out to the community.
You know how much of this 2,000, what amount is the deposit?
There's 400 in rental fee, 100 in utilities, booking deposit 500, the cleaning and damage deposit is 1,000.
Okay, so of the 2,000, 1,000 is deposit.
Right.
Okay.
Cleaning deposit.
So you heard us talk about the last agenda item, and if we're consistent, then we would require a $1,000 deposit for cleaning, and if the FFA does a thorough job, then you would get that back. So what we would be talking about then is waiving the $1,000 rental fee. I guess it's 400. I didn't.
Right. Rest of it comes.
Utilities, and the booking deposit is also refundable. And I'm not sure. Tell me what a booking deposit's for, please, Amanda.
That's just to guarantee you're going to show up.
This was part of I think Jill and I talked about this today a little bit, but this was part of when Dan Jackson came before you guys.
Right.
I think about 5 years ago, this was something that was new, that basically they do the $500, for instance, like main attractions that you guys approved tonight in the consent agenda. He paid us $500 to go ahead and secure the facility,
Okay.
to book it, and then the $1,000 he'll now pay that you guys have confirmed the contract. He'll now send us a check for the $1,000 for the full deposit.
So it's just reserve. It's just reserving it. The 500 reserves the facility.
Right.
Okay. And so then we're down to about $500 in fees, 400 of which are fees for that facility, 100 is for utilities. Is there a problem with coming up with the $1,500 in deposits that will be refundable? When you first show up, you get the 500 back, and second, leave the facility clean?
There's not a problem with that. I would just pay for it out of my own pocket, and they get my money back when it's
Okay.
through. Our account has $150 in it, so when I say to you it gets paid back out, it gets paid back out, and it's not something where we make money off of it. What I want to be able to understand is that if I pay the $500 to book the facility, when is the $1,000 deposit due as far as for the cleanup? Is that like the week before we come in?
Do you know what normal,
What's
Amanda?
the policy on it?
I would say just prior to the event is
Okay,
what it
so like
reads
a
right
week
now.
before, something like that?
Was you gonna say something, Jeff?
I'm not sure why we would be charging a booking deposit if we're going to waive the fees. The booking deposit's to make sure you get paid for the fees.
Well, it's to reserve the facility.
Yeah.
In theory, there's competition for the facility.
An
in
opportunity
theory.
cost,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I just want to be consistent.
Have we been doing that on past?
This is the first time you guys have ever had a resolution for a fee waiver at the fairgrounds. This is part of,
I mean, as far as booking.
Yeah, the monster truck.
yeah, they pay,
that
they're
we
for
approved
profit,
earlier
so he
had
pays full
one.
cost for everything.
Okay.
Are there any objections to waiving or any discussion about waiving the $500, which comprises $400 for the facility and $100 in utilities? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's a great event. I have no issue with that, Larry.
Okay. So, does somebody want to make a motion to waive the $500 in fees but leave the requirement for the deposits in place that would be refundable.
Both deposits.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
Well, I think there's only the one $1,000 deposit.
well, the other's a booking fee. It's a refundable booking fee. So however you guys want, and ladies want to approach that is.
What are you comfortable with, Christie, as far as?
I would waive all the fees, have the cleaning deposit given, and then after the event is over, if everything checks out, give that back. But I would just waive all the fees.
How much is clean deposit again?
1,000.
It is 1,000.
My only concern, when you say all the fees, are you including the booking fee? Because we just charged that a few minutes or on someone earlier.
Right, but
It
they're
is
for profit.
Right.
true.
I don't think there's any
And-
booking fees on the previous one.
And, well, it's refundable also though, right? The monster truck
Yes,
booking.
after he has a
portion is refundable.
checklist that once Monster Trucks is over, then Jamie Tallman, which is our parks manager, will do a walkthrough with him and make sure that everything is taken care of in that facility. And then if it is, then we issue the paperwork to finance to refund that $1,500 deposit to
The
him.
booking fees to hold it, right?
Hmm.
And the total amount that we were looking at for the deposit was 1,000.
You have a $500 booking deposit, and then you have a $1,000 cleaning and damaging deposit.
Okay.
I think I was inferring that maybe there might be some difficulty in coming up with the whole 1,500. And that was why you were asking when the 500 was due and when the 1,000 was due.
Yeah, well, I asked that because like I said, it would come out of
Coming
my
out
own
of your
personal
pocket,
pocket.
right.
And, you know, my child's
It's
in
a
college and.
It's a little over
We
a
have
month
bills to pay like
away.
everybody else.
How much demand do we think we're gonna have for that barn between now and April 11th through the 13th?
I think most things are on the calendar, I would say to this point, that we know that we have coming up.
So I would waive the booking
The booking and the others, you just require the cleaning deposit.
and just require the cleaning deposit.
Okay, so we have a motion to only require the cleaning deposit for this event from this organization. And that would be due at least 3 days before the event.
I'll second.
Or- okay. So Christie made the motion
I make the motion.
and Neil made the second.
Okay, McLean,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Charlotte,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Can I
Thank
have
you,
one?
and,
Thank you.
I got one question now.
It's exciting to
Okay,
be able
after
to
the
use
fact.
facility.
Yeah, after the fact, I got one question.
That's
What if
it.
someone comes up and asks to rent it that day?
It's already being used.
It's booked, so you
It's
got it
booked.
down as booked. Okay.
We have just for your information, there's a master in Outlook, there's a master, what we
I-
call sports calendar,
Yeah.
that has everything, any facilities in the city that are being utilized, it's on that calendar, so
I just
we'll.
wanted to make sure it was booked.
And we're excited about this event
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah.
And we hope that it's very successful for y'all, and we hope it brings a lot of people in.
Yeah.
And
It
we're
should,
glad to.
and then hopefully we'll get to do it next year and then be able to just pay everything and, you know, get a good start. And the facility is great, so we really do appreciate it. very
Do
much.
any of your concessions offer the goat?
We can cook goat, and y'all are
I just-
welcome to
I
come
don't
out
think I've
and
ever
try
had
some. It's
goat,
very
yeah.
good. We can have a variety of it cooked. Any of you.
case scenario, I'll be there with the smoker.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
I'll look for
bring
you.
some, and you're welcome to come out and try it.
How did Miami get picked for the Boer goat capital of wherever we are?
Well, the facility is what the draw is for us, and, you know, we look at our location, look at where we're located, right off of 44. And when I say to you that people will come in from all states, and we're talking Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, you know, they'll come from way down in Texas and New Mexico and wherever, because she is so heavily involved in the association herself that it's just one of those things where we will bring in a lot of adults that have money to spend, and they'll spend it in Miami. They have to eat, they have to stay at hotels, they'll shop while they're here.
Good idea.
Then we have the kids that show the goats that are throughout the state and the neighboring states, and they'll come in for the jackpots. They also show the board.
Last year we had Bonita, but the facility up here far outweighs the facility in Bonita.
Yeah, it was troublesome. We live in Craig County, and unfortunately our county facility is not as nice, and if any of you show livestock, you know how it is when you go into a facility. It's the first thing people say is, wow, I like this, or gosh, this is not so great. And a great facility will bring in more people. So, I mean, that was a low estimate on what we think we'll get as far as open entries. I think it's going to be a fantastic show. So hopefully all of you will come out and see us. And then, yeah, we'll have to go through you guys. So,
Thank
anyway,
you.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Item number 11, update on contract with Peoria Tribe to purchase sanitary sewer system. Is
I
this?
think you've got one more contract.
do.
Sorry,
Oh,
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's number
10.
number 10.
OSU, okay.
They're not here.
And they are asking for the same thing, basically?
Same
facility?
thing. It's a show they do every year. It's called Kids, Cows, and More.
Okay.
And it's just, like I said, this is, I think, prior to, with the new policy, we now bring all of this to your attention. So this is just one of, and I'll give you a heads up, we have a series, about 7 of them coming up in the next few council meetings. So
Okay.
Kathy was going to be here tonight, so I'm not sure what happened.
And but it's the exact same
It's
fees?
the exact same.
Okay.
Well, there's a little more as far as.
And OSU, this has been going on, this particular event.
9
has been
years.
Going on for 9 years.
Mhm.
And, I guess I wish she was here. I mean, the cleaning deposit is something we need to talk with her about, whether or not that's gonna be an issue for them. And we have a 9-year track record. I would assume they probably left it clean each time, but we're trying to be consistent, so.
When is this? I meant,
This one is
23rd.
April.
April 23rd. Be the, well, almost a week and a half after the goat show.
Can we table this? You want to do that, Rudy? Or?
I don't know what their time frame is. I'm most certainly okay with that.
You could pass it with the same conditions and they'd have the opportunity to come back.
Right.
So they would approve it with only requiring the $1,000 cleaning deposit.
I don't know what the best way to go is, but that would be an option.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to make that motion?
I will, Mayor.
Okay, and
I'll
Joe
second
seconded.
Johnson,
Aye.
Charbot,
it. Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. And Jill, that was in effect the same treatment as the last item. Okay, now we are on to item number 11. Update on contract with the Peoria Tribe to purchase sanitary sewer system. Just the same as information as before. Come on up, Chuck, and we'll do this quick.
Yes, this is the
Say
same
yellow.
item as before. Just updating you that Peoria Tribe is consultants preparing the plans and specs, and there's a number of items, including the permit from DEQ, permit from ODOT for the right-of-way, the county, private easements that we are waiting on as part of the agreement. Staff's been in contact with them and communicating with them about these items, and
Okay.
that's it.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Chuck. Item number 12, other new business, if any.
No new business, Your Honor?
Item number 13, staff reports in your packet. Any questions for staff? Item number 14, mayor and council community announcements. Neil, did you have something you wanted to talk
Yes, sir.
about?
Just, this was in the news record, I guess it was last Sunday, but a call come into, I don't know whether it's Jeff or Judy, I don't remember which one, somebody up in the office. But I'd just like to read this. Sometimes we get bogged down in negative stuff, so I want to read something positive tonight. I would like to tell you about a hero that resides in Miami. On February 19th, while performing his work duties and driving a truck for the city, he found a clip with a large amount of cash, credit cards and debit cards, and IDs of various kinds. This man made a call to my home phone, which is in another town, and my son contacted me with good news before we ever were even halfway home. We met back in Miami and returned every item. This kind deed reinforced my faith in Christian principles that bless our land. John Proctor is my hero, a man of character that the city of Miami can be proud of. My signature.
Thank you, Neil. And Jeff, I'm sure that you've mention to Mr. Proctor our appreciation.
Yes, sir.
Any other announcements? Item 15, future agenda planning. Any items that we want to make sure we have on future agendas that we want to discuss? Item 16 is a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
McLean,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Sharbit,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Schultz.